الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد
لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين وحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء والأمر دائم على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصابرون الصابرون أولئك المقربون. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم. Recite another salawat, please. So, since it's going to be our third night that we will talk about the personality and morality of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. We're all sad. We're all being suffered for this tragedy that has happened to us. It doesn't matter how long just passed over that tragedy, whether it will be 1400 years, whether it will be 2000 years, whether it will be 100,000 years, but still the Shahadat Ali ibn Abi Talib في قلوب المؤمنين حرارة لا تبرد أبدا. There is a burning love and heat in our heart for Ali ibn Abi Talib that it will never cool down. And this is actually a reality. This is actually a fact. I don't know what happened, mystically speaking. Mystics believe that before every one of us will come to this world, there has been a covenant that has been taken from every one of us before this alam, in another world previous to this world, that has been religiously and Quranically called alam al-dhar. I don't know what we have done, but we have to sincerely thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of this love that we have in our heart for Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. To some extent, we have been successful to fulfill this covenant. أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى. We said this yes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in another world previous to this world. And then, of course, every promise and every surah that we will make will bring about responsibilities. One of the responsibilities that we are doing, alhamdulillah, we are undertaking perfectly, is the commemoration of these tragedies that happen. We didn't want something like this happen. Who wants to see his leader to be immersed in the blood of his head, so much so that his beard was colored by that blood following from his head? We did not want that. We do not want something like this happen to our leaders, but unfortunately something like that happened, and now we have to remind ourselves, just in order to seek the right path of those goals. This is sometimes very hard. Well, if I want to talk about something that will come out of my heart, and then I have this feeling, sometimes it is very difficult to talk about the characteristics of some people that they are. We don't know who are they. This is very sorrowful. You know, there is a famous statement about Ali ibn Abi Talib saying that, I don't know, who are you? If I just call you out as Rabb, as Lord, as God, I'm an infidel. I'm kafir. And then I cannot call you as a normal person. Because I know that this is a disgrace to you if I call you as like a normal person. Ali ibn Abi Talib. So who are you? Is above human and angels or less than that? And then for these very worthy, valuable person, something like this will happen. I don't know. Who are we actually? As human beings, not understanding the value of a person like Ali ibn Abi Talib, who is above all humanity. What we have done to our leaders, you cannot find even a single person among these 14 infallibles who would die naturally. All of them were either poisoned, killed, martyred, savagely and brutally. Well, what's just going on? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already has sent His blessings to us, and then we will find no one of them to live his natural life, whether in prison, whether poisoned, whether tortured, whether healed, whether killed, whether savagely in a barbarian way killed. Their family were being taken as captives. Anyhow, this was something that I want to share with you. So we were talking about Ali ibn Abi Talib and then his personality. We talked last night about his faith and Iman. He was the first believer to Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We talked about his battle of Khandaq. We said that the strike of Ali ibn Abi Talib equals to the behavior and deeds of all people. Ummati, even afdal. There is a hadith that Holy Prophet told after that a sensitive, critical fight of Ali ibn Abi Talib against Amr ibn Abdul, that your strike today weighs more the deeds of my ummah ila yawm al-qiyamah, till the day of judgment. And then I explain that to you. There is also another statement from Holy Prophet to have said that that strike, لَضَرْبَةُ عَلِيٍّ لَعَمْرٍ يَوْمَ الْخَنْدَقِ تَعْدُلُ عِبَارَةَ الثَّقَلَيْنِ. So what are those ثقلين? Holy Quran, and then also infallibles. And then if we worship them, if we just follow them, it would be equal to strike of Ali ibn Abi Talib in Yawm al-Khandaq. So this is only one, I can tell you really, one simple deed of Ali ibn Abi Talib in his whole life, 50, 60 years that he was living. So one simple action of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He's got so many. I told some of the brothers that they were with me listening to them last night. There is a book, Manaqib ibn Shahr has written this book. So there are volumes of this book. The first two volumes have been dedicated to description of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So the way that he started, Al-Musabiqa bil-Islam, Al-Musabiqa bil-Iman. So he was the pioneer in terms of believing in Islam, in terms of having the first person to pray behind Holy Prophet, in terms of bay'ah, in terms of hijrah, in terms of shuja'ah, in terms of courage, in terms of immigration. So then when I finished a little bit reviewing and scheming this book, I came to this conclusion, so what just left for others? So everything Ali ibn Abi Talib, everything Ali ibn Abi Talib, the first believer, the first mu'min, the first person who pledged allegiance to follow Holy Prophet in Da'watul Ashira, that he invited, it was only Ali ibn Abi Talib person. The first person to immigrate. So some people might think that, okay, Ali ibn Abi Talib was not among those people that immigrated from Medina to Habasha, to Ethiopia, that Ali ibn Abi Talib was already before that immigrating by Holy Prophet to Shaykh Abi Talib. So already he was there, among the first immigrants. So there is a hadith that, well, Aisha was complimenting her dad, that my dad was the first person to accompany the Holy Prophet in his immigration from Mecca to Medina. And then they were both together in the cave. And then they were very close to each other, so this is actually a very important position that my father was alone with Holy Prophet. And then a person came and said, okay, while your father was with Holy Prophet, and Ibn Abi Talib already slept in place of Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Which one is more important? To just sacrifice yourself in the bed of a person who is already in danger, or to go away from the danger? Which one? And then Aisha kept quiet. So this is of course very important. The fada and merits of all are undeniable, so we cannot just deny them. There is a verse that already I told you, as-sabiqun as-sabiqun ulaika al-muqarrabun. Who are these sabiqun? Who are these pioneers? Who are these front runners that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing them? And then they will be also the front runners of all believers and good doers in the day of judgment to go to the heaven and paradise. Recite the salawat to tell you about it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Ibn Abbas has mentioned, you know that Ibn Abbas is not a normal person. Ibn Abbas was the person that Ali ibn Abi Talib wanted to address him actually as a representative of his own army, when they wanted to have that kind of negotiation and dialogue between, the Battle of Siffin, Muawiyah, and then Ali. So Ibn Abbas was actually not a normal person. He was companions of Holy Prophet, he was the interpreter of Quran, he was actually one of the memorizers of Quran, so he wasn't a normal person. He mentioned, I swear to God, about the occasion of revelation of this verse, as-sabiqun as-sabiqun ulaika al-muqarrabun. So what is the case of revelation for it? No problem. No problem, Brother Nazir. So, what this verse has been revealed. Who is just behind the revelation of this verse? Ibn Abbas has mentioned. He has mentioned, Sabaq Allah. Ibn Abbas, إنها نزلت في أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام سبق والله كل أهل الإيمان إلى الإيمان ثم قال والصالحون كذلك ليسبق العباد يوم القيامة إلى الجنة. As mentioned, I swear to God that Ali ibn Abi Talib, this verse has been revealed about him, and then he preceded all believers in respect to the faith. So Ali ibn Abi Talib already is أول من آمن بالله also. And then also he is, Ibn Abbas has mentioned, and I've heard the Holy Prophet who said that he is the first person also to enter the paradise. As-sabiqun as-sabiqun ulaika al-muqarrabun. So these people, they are very counted as the front runners and pioneers. At the same time, ulaika al-muqarrabun, they are the muqarrabin of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They approach God already. In another hadith, Holy Prophet has mentioned, O Ali. We do have also the saying that Omar ibn has mentioned, you know that. But then Omar mentioned only three values of Ali ibn Abi Talib, said, if I have those values, I would be never regretful. Like, my house was very close to the house of Holy Prophet, to the mosque of Holy Prophet. Like my wife would be Fatima Zahra sallallahu alayha. Like I would be responsible for that strike of Yawm al-Khandaq. Three values of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Even the second caliph has mentioned this. But then Holy Prophet has completed, let's say, before. He has mentioned, oh Ali, you have 7 priorities over others. that no one dares even to think about them in the day of judgment, and then that is why you will be preceded over all others. So what is that? What are those 7 priorities and fada'il of Ali ibn Abi Talib? أنت أول المؤمنين بالله إيمانا. We already talked about that. وأوفاهم بعهد الله. Now I will tell you this concept. Please try to imagine the examples of Ali ibn Abi Talib in your mind. So أول المؤمنين clear. وأوفاهم بعهد الله. So he was actually the most promised, reliable person in terms of his covenant and promise to fulfill his promise. So you can remind of Battle of Badr, you can remind of Battle of Uhud, you can remind of Laylatul Nabit. I can tell you continuously. وَأَقْوَمُهُمْ بِأَمْرِ اللَّهِ. And then you're the most steadfast person to follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know if you have heard the story or not. After the Battle of Uhud, so all left Holy Prophet. You have heard this. All companions, I'm not talking about one person, almost all companions left Holy Prophet. They turned their back, fleeing away, climbing up the mountain. Holy Prophet, I'm here, shouting. Holy Prophet was shouting, where are you going? I'm here. Fearful, escaping away, fleeing away from the battlefield. Ali ibn Abi Talib remained. Hundreds of injuries he faced because it was not easy. Spears, swords from every direction just surrounded Holy Prophet, and then he did not have any defender except Ali ibn Abi Talib. Hundreds of injuries. And then after what just finished about, and then Muslim got to know that, okay, Prophet is alive. So it has been mentioned, then also Holy Prophet and Ali ibn Abi Talib climbed the mountain. Then Holy Prophet commanded Ali ibn Abi Talib, oh Ali, I'm thirsty. Hundreds of injury right now Ali ibn Abi Talib has got in his body, I'm thirsty. Without any saying hesitation, oh, let me a little bit have a rest at least. He went. He brought the water to Holy Prophet. Holy Prophet said, no, this is not the water that much clean. 3 times repeatedly, Holy Prophet intentionally, of course, did that. Ali ibn Abi Talib went, brought water to Holy Prophet, brought water to, with that exhaustion that he had. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib, listening to the commands. And then there is no any why. There is no any question. When a prophet is a prophet of God, and then when you believe that he is a prophet of God, and the commands that are going to address me, so they are the commands of God, so I have to listen to them. Then, وَأَرْفَعُهُمْ بِالرَّعِيَّةِ. Number 4, you're the most kind person to the public, to the governed people, to the ones that they are inferior. Yes, of course, Ali ibn Abi Talib was the caliph for almost 5 years. But then the question is, who just gave rise to these wars and battles? So the first was Talha and Zubayr. Who are Talha and Zubayr? Talha and Zubayr are like inferior people of the society. And then the second battle of Muawiyah, the governor of Syria. The third one, Khawarij. So now the question is, why all these wars just happen, taking place repeatedly, one after another, just because Ali ibn Abi Talib was kind to these inferior people of the society? Because he did not want to discriminate and then just distinguish the nobles and elites of the society, giving priority to them, and at the same time depriving the inferior people from their own rights. That is why, basically. And that is the basic reason. So that is why Ali ibn Abi Talib has been called أَرْفَعُهُمْ بِالرَّعِيَّةِ وَأَقْسَمُهُم بِالسَّبِيَّةِ. You are the most just person in terms of dividing, of course, the treasure, the Bayt al-Mal. This is also very clear, you know the story. Now I'm just reminding of the stories. The story of his brother Ali coming to him requesting for a share. Ali ibn Abi Talib told him, okay, if you want my share, I will give you. Then Aqil said, what is your share and contribution of Baytul Mal? Even yours is nothing. As a caliph, your contribution, Aqil already know that his brother is not taking so much of his share of Baytul Mal. I don't want your share, I need something more than that. So reflect upon this. Already Aqil knows that Ali ibn Abi Talib himself does not have that big share of Baytul Mal. Already I'm responsible for that. I don't just take much more than others. So we cool. And that is why Aqil said no. Go beyond that. Suppose that, for example, I was responsible for treasury, I was a treasurer, and then I was responsible, for example, for Baytul Mal, and then, well, because I'm responsible for Baytul Mal, I have to have more share of that. So a person like a beggar will come to me and ask me, okay, I want more share of that Baytul Mal. I will say, okay, I will give you my own share. Oh, thank you, that's perfect. Give me, for example, this month your share, because now you're a treasurer, and then you have the money under your supervision, so let me have it. Why not? If I will have 1 month of your share, I'm done for the rest of my life. But then I already know that Ali ibn Abi Talib, even maybe his share is less than his brother's. وَأَقْسَمُهُ بِالسَّوِيَّةِ. No difference. And then number 6, this is the hadith of Holy Prophet. Already these are the kind of foretelling that what is just going to happen in the future. And then you are, of course, the most knowledgeable person, at the same time the most righteous person in terms of judiciary. So you are the most knowledgeable judge. In this book, Manaqib, there is a specific part and chapter of the book that Ibn Shahrashub has dedicated to only discussion about the stories about the judge of Ali ibn Abi Talib, the system that he went through in order to judge among people. You know the story of 2 women, 2 mothers, that they came along and then they were also challenging each other about that specific child. And what was the solution of Ali ibn Abi Talib for that? These are not something that a person can do without having inspired by God, not receiving inspiration from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then finally, you have all these 6, consequently, وَعَظَمُهُمْ مَزِيَّةً يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Of course, it is clear that in the Day of Judgment, because these 6 already, you have them, so consequently and naturally, you are the most important person in the Day of Judgment. Now you're to be blessed more than others in terms of your position. So your position would be elevated and promoted so much so that all people will look at you like this. And they are not jealous, but at the same time they wish they could have also the same position like you. This is about Ali ibn Abi Talib, who we are talking about. That is why we call him as. Sometimes I think that you were not really a normal person, not to be like ghulat, not to be like, for example, over-exaggerators. To say that, well, Ali ibn Abi Talib was, nasta'idhu billah, someone like God. But at the same time, Ali ibn Abi Talib was not a normal person like me. Recite the salawat, please. These are going to be the final words, sorry, because I know that too. Then the last sentence that I want to share with you, we have 3 people according to the hadith, another hadith of Holy Prophet, that they in even less than a blink of an eye, they did not disbelieve in God. 3 people according to the hadith of Holy Prophet. Who are these 3 people? So first, here is ثلاثة لم يكفروا طرفة عين. ثلاثة لم يكفروا طرفة عين. We have 3 people that they did not disbelieve, that did not disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala less than طرفة عين, less than blink of an eye. No. So Ali ibn Abi Talib first. It's clear. Ali ibn Abi Talib is first. Second, Sahib Yasin, or Mu'min Yasin. There are different titles for this person. We have read his story of Sahib Yasin in chapter Yasin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَجَاءَ مِنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ رَجُلٌ يَسْعَى قَالَ يَا قَوْمِ اتَّبِعُوا الْمُرْسَلِينَ اتَّبِعُوا مَنْ لَا يَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. So, who was this Sahib Yasin? Now, I'm telling you the values of these people so that at the end of this hadith you will understand the value of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So Sahib Yasin was a person that was contemporary to the messengers of Prophet Isa. So Prophet Isa already sent his messengers, let's say lecturers, to invite people in Antakya. So people started, they were infidels, polytheists, they started rejecting those messengers. Then, فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِثٍ. There are some statements that the third person also was sent by Prophet Isa to fortify those previous two ones. Then this person from a remote, distant regions came all the way, but as soon as he heard that these three messengers of Prophet Isa, or lecturers, or promoters, or preachers, whatever you call them, they are in danger. Now people, they surrounded them to kill them. Being aware that there is a danger, if I will say that I believe in these three, my life also would be in danger. But he intentionally and arbitrarily he came in. He broke into the story saying that they don't want anything from you. They say, okay, go and just take the advantage of the right path and these preachers. He has been brutally killed by the tribe as well. So he's been called as Sahib Yasin. So also this is the second person. And the third person, Mu'min al-Fir'aun. Mu'min al-Fir'aun, you know the story that there was a person among the nobles of Fir'aun, but then at the same time, we do have the story of him in chapter Qatar, verse 28. The Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying there was a person very close to Fir'aun even, but at the same time he was hiding his faith in Musa, so that he was just looking for an opportunity that maybe Prophet Musa needs me, so I will help him. When Fir'aun said, I will just shed your blood, I will kill you, to Prophet Musa, then he just tried his best in order to change the mind of Fir'aun, and then he was successful in that. But then as soon as Fir'aun understood that he's one of the faithful followers of Prophet Musa, also was brutally killed. So these three are very important people that Holy Prophet mentioned in the history of all tribes. These three were the prominent figures that they never disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even for a twinkle of an eye. So, and then, who is the best of these three? Ali ibn Abi Talib. وعلي أفضلهم. وعلي أفضلهم. Now we're talking about Ali ibn Abi Talib and then Holy Prophet. So Holy Prophet is in his last sermon of Sha'ban, very close to, of course, the month of Ramadan. We do have a very famous Khutbah Sha'baniyya, the Sha'baniyya sermon of Holy Prophet. So he has explained, he's been explaining this to Ali ibn Abi Talib and then of course other commanders. Then Holy Prophet reached this part that you have to do good in the month of Ramadan, the following month. Ali ibn Abi Talib asked Holy Prophet, O Prophet, what is the best action indeed if we want to do in this coming month? Then Holy Prophet has mentioned, so the best action is that to forbid and to refrain yourself from the forbidden acts in this month. To tarak al-muharramat. So forbid yourself from the muharramat. Then the Holy Prophet answered in this way. So he started shedding tears and crying and weeping. Then Ali ibn Abi Talib asked, so did I ask something wrong? Did I do something mistaken? Sorry for that. This kind of context. And then Holy Prophet has mentioned, well, I can from now see presently that what this ummah will do to you exactly in this month of Ramadan. So the best action in this month of Ramadan is actually the action that you will refrain yourself from muharramat. Now I will ask you, what is the maximum level of muharram, something haram? Do we have something upper than and higher than killing a representative of Prophet in the community? So Ali ibn Abi Talib was struck in this holy month that the Holy Prophet suggested and then recommended the people refrain yourself from muharramat. So already we know that in this month of Ramadan, even the Satan has been imprisoned. Even the Satan does not have an access to the believers, to the faithful people. I don't know what just happened from where, what was the source. Maybe these people are actually teaching the Satan even. As-salamu alayka ya Ameer Al-Momineen. As-salamu alayka ya Al-Hasan ya Ameer Al-Momineen ya Ali ibn Abi Talib ya Hujjat Allah ala khalqih ya Sayyidana After he left the house of Lady Zainab, he went to the mosque. It also has been mentioned that some people were sleeping exactly the same night in the mosque, among whom Ibn Mohammad, so the worst of the worst, was also sleeping in the mosque. So Ali ibn Abi Talib himself was going to the people and then waking them up. أغم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. So he was even the person that waking Ibn Muljam for the prayer. So much like that, okay, if you have come for a mission, now is the time for the mission that you want to do. So it's so much like that, I will invite you. And then Ali ibn Abi Talib already was asking the Holy Prophet in his dream, I'm tired of this ummah. They are also tired of me. And then we cannot tolerate each other anymore. Oh Prophet, invite me to yourself. And then out of this prayer, out of this supplication, Ali ibn Abi Talib was promised in his dream by Holy Prophet, don't worry, after 3 days we'll meet each other. So Ali ibn Abi Talib was enthusiastically looking for this opportunity. He waked up Ibn Muljam. It seems that you have come for the mission. Ali ibn Abi Talib went to his mihrab. So Ali ibn Abi Talib went for the prayer. He himself was calling the adhan, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So it was the last adhan heard by the voice of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So all people started coming to the mosque, and then Ibn Muljam was waiting for a good opportunity. When Ali ibn Abi Talib finished his prayer, went to his ruku, and then afterward to the prostration. So when he raised up from the first prostration and sajda, Ibn Muljam hit it toward Ali ibn Abi Talib. He just took up the sword, the poison his sword and then he struck the head of Ali ibn Abi Talib. It has been mentioned that this strike was so hard that even the skull of Ali ibn Abi Talib was broken. Allah, Ya Ali, Ya. So even the shouts and the screams of the people went up. And then Imam al-Hasan and Imam al-Hussein, they have heard the voices of the people. They ran toward the mosque. So they found their dad, of course, immersed in his blood of the head. So much so that the beard of Ali ibn Abi Talib was colored by his blood. Ali ibn Abi Talib did not stop his prayer. Oh God, what a man. I cannot understand this. So he finished his prayer and then people started carrying Ali ibn Abi Talib. Who? A person who already knocked down the door of Khanda, they knocked down the door of Khaybar. So already a person who was the most courage, the most powerful person of the tribe, of the Holy Prophet Muhammad's companions. So he could not walk on his own feet even afterward. So people gathered around him, carrying Ali ibn Abi Talib in their hands to the house. When they were very close to the house of Ali ibn Abi Talib, and he told them, now we are close to the house. Let me just, I have to walk myself because my daughter Lady Zainab is in the house. I don't want her to see me in this way. Oh my God, I don't know. Oh Ali ibn Abi Talib, you're thinking about your daughter Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha. When were you when she was left alone in Syria? When were you when she was left alone with these savages? Ya Allah, that is why even when Imam al-As was asked what was the most worst tragedy of Karbala, he also mentioned, oh my God, the tragedy of Lady Zainab, Ammati Zainab, 3 times he just mentioned that. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of Truth Imam. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our commemorations. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to intercede us in the day of judgment, to accept the intercessions of Ali ibn Abi Talib, inshallah, for us. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to heal the sick people. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to return the strangers to their homeland. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free the captives. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us good opportunities always to serve His way. And then finally, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fortify us with good offsprings who are the lovers of the school of Ahl-Bayt. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.